who can run these codes and save the code for future use so that next time they call Ifeanyi Dike, I need you to spin up 50 servers. We just got a contract from T-Mobile. We need to spin up 50 servers so that we can connect to their big data and help them analyze their customer behavior in the past 7 years. All right. So that kind of contract requires you to go to cloud, spin up all the servers that you need, and then connect to their database, analyze everything they need you to analyze. And in maybe 3 months, 6 months, you are done with the analysis of over 400 million customers. And then you present your report to them. All right. So in that case, you are not going to be setting up your infrastructure manually, setting up 50 servers manually. And then, no. So you write codes so that when you run these codes, it will just run things. It will run the infrastructure and it will run the application without you manually doing stuff. That concept of you running codes and making things happen from the running of the code is what we call DevOps. Yeah, I'm not sure that makes sense. Anyway, I'll give you time to ask questions, and then if it does not make sense now, ask me again, and then I'll look for simpler ways to explain it. And then the Terraform part of that, of the DevOps, Terraform and Kubernetes are part of DevOps, to be honest. The Terraform part of the DevOps is the part of the DevOps that set up your infrastructure. This one will set up your infrastructure. So Terraform will not set up your application. It will set up your infrastructure. So you want to set up your server, set up your secured environment, set up your access list, and everything that has to do with building a network. Terraform would help you do that. All right. But when it comes to deploying applications into that infrastructure that Terraform has set up for you, then you need to use another tool. So Terraform is just like a tool. You need to use another tool that there are several other tools, but the most common tool and the one we'll be using is Ansible. Ansible will be the tool that you use to automate the deployment of your application into that infrastructure that you build with Terraform. So essentially, what we'll be training you for as cloud automation engineers and what you are taking to interview, what the interviewer expects you to know, what your recruiter expects you to know to hire you is that you can automate. It's not enough to know cloud and expect that. No. Just knowing cloud is not enough to give you a job. You must be able to automate the deployment of infrastructure in cloud. And then also, you must be able to automate the deployment of your application in your infrastructure. That is what gives you the job. So that is where we are going. Our learning of Linux, our learning of cloud and DevOps is ultimately to get you to that point where you can confidently say, I have automated the deployment of infrastructure using, there are many tools you can use. Terraform is just one of them. You could use Python, you could use Node.js, you could use Amazon. Yeah, a number of tools. I can't remember them all. But Terraform is the one we're using. So your employer wants to hear that you can automate the deployment of infrastructure using Terraform, and then you can automate the deployment of applications in that infrastructure using any of the many tools available. You could have Chess, you could have Puppet. Again, you could actually have Python there. But again, the one we'll be learning is Ansible, all right? And then there is something called CI/CD, which is also another meaning of DevOps. And then having set up your infrastructure and your application, you also want to be able to automate the process of every change that developers, people who write programs, make to the source code should automatically affect the production version of that application. In other words, if Uber as an application has 300 programmers, you want to configure as a DevOps person the whole process so that any change made by any of those 300 programmers, depending on how the company wants it, would automatically reflect. Once he pushes that change to your repository, it will automatically trigger a series of actions that would ultimately reflect that change in the production area. Your Uber application will see it without anybody manually doing anything. So that concept is called continuous integration and continuous delivery, CI/CD. So at the end of this training, there is only one statement that you should be able to defend, that you are taking to interview, that is giving you the 140K per annum minimum kind of job. That statement is, I am able to build infrastructure with Terraform code. I'm able to deploy applications to those infrastructure with Ansible, and I'm able to set up my CI/CD for that process with my Jenkins. Once you can make that statement and you can defend that statement, because we are going to run series of projects that will help you defend, not just defend that statement, but you also have the project to take to the interview with you, because everything you do in class will form part of your project that you are taking to interview. Because they're going to show you, okay, show me what you have done in that regard. You have something to show them. How would you write a code that would deploy all of this in Google Cloud, for example? If I wanted to change my cloud provider from AWS to Google, now you tell them, okay, this is my code. I'll just remove AWS and put Google there. How would you just ask you questions around what you have done? And that is it. That is it, right? So all of the 4 months of training will be preparing you to defend that simple. All right. And then Kubernetes is the father of all of this, is the king. At this level, you are a big guy. Right? This is the father of all automation. Whereas in DevOps, we are talking about you use one tool to set up your infrastructure, and then you use another tool to deploy your application to that infrastructure. In Kubernetes, only Kubernetes will set up the infrastructure, will set up the cloud, will set up the application, and do everything for you. Just run it and you just watch Kubernetes perform magic. And then you'll be wondering, this is so wow, this is the king. This is the king. At this level, you are no longer a small boy, right? So, but this is enough to give you your 140K job. But if you now know this in addition to this one, it will be extra. If you know Kubernetes, in addition to what you learn in Terraform, what you will learn in Terraform and Ansible, then you can decide, you know what, I'm not even working for anybody. All right. So all of that was just my attempt to give you an overview of the courses we have lined up for you, and then also what you expect to learn under each other. All right. So at this stage, I'm going to let you ask questions, and then we can throw more light, not just on what on the overview of the courses that we have lined up, but also on any aspect of IT, any area of ambiguity. I'm here and ready to clarify them so that we can put you on good standing in preparation for the real class. All right. Thank you so much. That's it for now.
My question is there any way we could get reference of people who have been through this training and they have a job already?
Yes, of course. If you've been to the website, you see at least 3 references. But there are so many. I don't want to congest the place with references. There are so many. Yeah. Okay. I count at least 7 off my head, right? But on the website, there are at least 3.
Okay. Thank you.
And those 3 are the most recent. And at that time, at the time of those 3, we're not even teaching Kubernetes. We're not teaching Terraform. We stopped at DevOps. But now, and then my promise to them at that time was, you might not be able to get a 6-figure job.
Yeah.
Because we stopped at DevOps.